Yeah, what's cracking, everybody? What's up, Raza? It's your EsseHomie back at it again with another reaction. Today, we are going to do Samoans. This one is called The Story of Gangster Red, the Samoan rapper who bullied Suge Knight. I can't picture that, because we all know Suge Knight's a big boy, man, and he did all the bullying in the rap game. Now, him getting bullied, I had to react to this shit. I had to watch it. So, without further ado, before we get into this reaction, man, go grab your food, your drink, your smoke, whatever you guys like to do, and chill when y'all watch your reactions, your videos, your movies, whatever y'all doing, man. Go ahead and get that ready, and let's kick back and let's just watch this video, man. Let's see what happens. I got my Red Bull ready. I got my soda ready, and I'm about to enjoy this shit. I got some ceviche, dog. Y'all see that? Let me see y'all. Y'all gotta see this, boy. I got some bomb ass some ceviche going. Yeah, we gonna get down today. We gonna eat good and watch some Samoan action. Feel me? So without further ado, I'm gonna hit y'all with my intro. But don't forget, before anything, hit that subscribe button for your boy and let's try to get that algorithm going. Feel me? I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere, motherfucker.
Get your ass in.
Alright, man. Y'all already know the title. Samoan rapper bullying Suge Knight. That's what we go get down to. So without further ado, let's get into this shit, man. I'm about to tear the hell out of this ceviche up, boy. Let's go.
Standing over 6 feet tall and tipping the scales at 300 plus pounds.
Hold on, my mic's not working. Hold up. Alright.
Just the sight of them was enough to make folks think twice. As Cypress Hill's
what's wrong with my mic, man? Shit ain't working? Hold up. Turn it off and turn back on, man. Hold on, guys. My bad, man. Technical difficulties right now. Alright, now let's get it.
That's what I'm talking about. Another body murder coming from gangster mother real.
Everyone I talk to, man, they sure really this. I'm like,
But
I'm Samoan, man. I don't give a
hey, the Samoans, they demand respect. I don't care what nobody say, bro. Samoans, they get that rep.
Booyah tribe never really got their flowers in the music game like they should have.
Yeah, I
But
used to
when
bump
it came
Booyah
to the
tribe back then.
streets,
I live in
their
Vegas.
reputation was untouchable.
They're only gangsters to the music industry. But to the streets,
They're like gangsters to MTV, but not to the streets. You know what I'm saying? Who your tribe is for the streets, you know what I'm saying?
These were Samoan giants, each one standing over 6 feet tall and tipping the scales at 300 plus pounds. Just the sight of them was enough to make folks think twice. As Cypress Hill's Be Real once said, anyone familiar with the Booyah tribe is aware of their intimidating stature. No one
that's
was
crazy,
effing
bro.
with those guys.
The Booyah tribe was big. Like I said, I met them a long time ago because I'm from Vegas. I think they live in Reno. Like in the early 2000s, bro. I had a homie that hung out with them. I met them once. Cool people, bro. But I think if you piss them off, man, that's a whole different animal that's coming out. And even if other rappers know who they are, you know they're real, man.
You know, if they got behind you and they said, hey, he's with us, you don't F with him. Nobody F with those guys. Simply put, having Booyah in your corner was like having a battalion of soldiers at your side. But even in a crew that intimidating, one guy stood out as the wild card, Paul DeVoe. Better known as Gangsta Red.
They were coming here, gangster, whispering. I was like, what's up? Suge Knight scared of you.
If the rest of Booyah were soldiers,
can't eat
Gangsta
ceviche
was
without
the
those salads,
berserker,
buddies.
straight unhinged. There's this story behind the scenes of their song Another Body Murdered where everyone's being careful about how they speak on it, trying not to say too much, and then Rid just cuts through all that bluntly stating that the song was about snitches, and that snitches get murdered too.
you know, who's that snitch? Like when you witness a murder and you want to tell the judge or the jury, you gonna get murdered too. That's what the whole song talk about. Another body murder coming from gangster mother real.
Even Suge Knight, who was feared by just about everybody in the game, didn't want smoke with Gangsta Rid. Rid once told the story of how he tossed his lyric book at Suge's face during a session, and Suge didn't do a thing.
I was at death row. I threw my lyric book at Suge Knight. I tried to hit him in the head.
Later, other death row artists like Left Eye from TLC and Keisha Cole quietly told Rid that
Rest in
Suge
peace,
was actually
man.
scared of him.
They were coming here, gangster, whispering. I was like, what's up? Suge Knight scared of you. Suge Knight scared of you.
And it makes sense. Rid wasn't a dude you wanted to test. He said it himself. He didn't care who you were. If you came at him sideways, you were getting handled.
When I talked to him, man, is Suge really this, really that? I'm like,
But
I'm Samoan, man.
They don't give a fuck about nobody, bro.
I don't care. You King Kong, you Godzilla, you gonna get your ass beat.
And Booyah Tribe were protectors too. One of their most famous behind-the-scenes moves was stepping in for Eminem. Back in the early 2000s,
Eminem gave him
was in
credit
LA
too,
and
man.
reportedly getting extorted
In a
by
song.
Crip members.
Shouted
It
them out.
started getting serious. Word got back to M's manager, Paul Rosenberg, and he knew exactly who to call. Booyah. Once the DeVoe brothers got involved and made a few calls, the extortion stopped immediately. The Crips backed off fast. Nobody wanted to go head-to-head with 40 Deep Samoan muscle. Eminem later repaid the favor by jumping on their 2003 track 911 with Be Real. And he let it be known from the jump. Everywhere we go, people know we roll deep as 40, 50 Samoans. They knowin' when Debo was.
Everywhere we go, people know we roll deep as 40, 50 Samoans, ain't no one when deep.
Their history of throwing hands goes way back too. Tone Loc told a story in a 2023 interview about a wild club night in the late 80s. Apparently, some of the Booyah brothers beat up his cousin, and Tone felt he had to pull a strap just to keep things from escalating.
So we about to get into it. One of them pull out a gat, I pull out my gat, and we basically just, it's there. Nobody's busting, but nobody's running.
Even then, armed and all, Tone said he thought twice. He looked at the Booyah crew and realized this might not end well. The Booyah tribe also had ties to Death Row Records, often serving as muscle. In 2002, they rolled with Suge Knight to the West Coast Hip Hop Summit, showing up in force. Their presence sent a message. Suge was not to be messed with that day. Tensions between rival crews were high, but no violence occurred, likely because Booyah was standing guard. They even got involved in the music beefs of the era. After Snoop Dogg fell out with Death Row, a diss track dropped called Tharo, Y'all Hoes, and Gangsta Rid was on it himself, alongside Tharo artists like Spiderlock and Eastwood. Rid went in, clowning Snoop with lines like, "Once upon a time on the Row West Coast, there was a rapper named Snoop with extended cornrows. He would always bark about this and that."
A rapper named Snoop with extended cornrows. He would always bark about this and that.
Word on the street was Booyah might actually pull up on Snoop too, but Mutual Connection stepped in to cool things down. Producer Damidza said he personally helped squash it before it went left. But beyond their muscle and street reputation, the Booyah tribe were hip-hop pioneers in their own right. Before they ever picked up a mic, the DeVoe brothers actually started out as professional dancers. They'd moved to funk music, creating routines and putting on shows in their South Bay neighborhood under the name the Blue City Strutters. Their bond with music was deep-rooted, and early on they gravitated.
My bad. I thought they were for Reno, man, because there's Samoans in Reno, Nevada, bro. So and that's where I met them at, in Reno. But I guess they're from California.
Toward live funk,
My bad.
playing as a band before becoming vocalists. Things took
Is this the best survival game ever made?
This is the aircraft carrier shelter you seized, previously owned by a small faction.
a dark turn in 1987 when their youngest brother was tragically killed in a gang-related shooting. That moment became a turning point. Instead of sinking further into the gang life, they made a pact to turn their lives around, to honor their brother's memory by dedicating themselves fully to music. As they put it, that's what he would have wanted. Trying to escape the pull of LA's gang
Samoans
culture,
are family
they left
based,
the US
man. I like that.
altogether and relocated to Japan. It might sound random, but Japan ended up being the spark they needed. While overseas, they started performing again. Gangsta Rid would be front and center, hyping up Japanese crowds with his intense presence and raw delivery. Booyah toured Japan during the mid-1980s, and they were met with open arms. Their energy and authenticity caught on. That international love gave them the confidence to regroup and return to California in 1988, this time fully committed. They rebranded themselves as the Booyah Tribe. Booyah being a Samoan expression of victory, and Tribe, standing for Too Rough International Booyah Empire. Their debut album, New Funky Nation, dropped shortly after, and it stood out from the rest of the rap landscape at the time. While most hip-hop acts were relying solely on samples and programmed beats, Booyah was laying down live instrumentation, playing bass, drums, guitar, and horns themselves. Over the years, their sound expanded and evolved. They collaborated with a wild mix of artists across genres. On the legendary Judgment Night soundtrack, they teamed up with rock band Faith No More for the heavy-hitting Another Body Murdered. They also linked up with Kid Frost on his East Side Story LP.
Hold up, man. I gotta go get some more salt and more tapatio, man. I'll be right back. Alright, man. I had to get the more tapatio, bro. If y'all don't know, Mexicans love tapatio, bro. Or shit, I do. I ain't gonna say all of us. A lot of us like Valentina, man, but I'm a tapatio type of thing. Alright, let's get back at it. My bad. Yo, this ceviche busting, bro. Straight up.
Appeared on the Transplants Haunted Cities album and delivered serious energy on POD's Testify with the track On the Grind. Their 1989 single, Raid, made waves, and by 1993, they were even featured on EYC's Get Some, which ended up on international charts. But long before the fame, before the rap verses and world tours, the brothers first learned their way around instruments in their father's church, the Assembly of God. They'd perform at services, then when no one was around, they'd use the church space to experiment with funk grooves and the early elements of hip-hop.
Yo, you know what's crazy about this shit? I was watching this other video. I don't know if it's Samoans. There's Samoans and some other ones, bro. There's two different. I don't know. I'm just saying Samoans. They're in Utah, and they're Mormons, right? But they still gangbanging. When I was watching the video, a cop even said, bro, when I pulled over to certain people, they had the rag on one side and the Mormon Bible on the other. So they take religion very, very serious, man.
Their lyrics often fell under the gangster rap umbrella, touching on everything from street justice to carjackings, violence, and weed culture. It was their reality, and they never sugarcoated it. But they also opened doors and kicked down barriers for other Samoan artists trying to find a voice in hip-hop. Artists like Cosmo from New Zealand, who credited Booyah as his original inspiration, pointed to them as proof that Samoans could leave a mark in this culture. Being Samoan in America, especially in hip-hop, meant walking a tightrope between two worlds. But Booyah pulled it off. They embodied both their American upbringing and their proud Samoan roots. Albums like Angry Samoans in 1997 showed just how personal that identity was to them. And speaking of identity, you can't talk about Booyah Tribe without mentioning their street family, the Sons of Samoa. These guys were known for being one of the most serious and dangerous gangs out there. The gang, known as Sons of Samoa, SOS, got its start back in the mid-1980s in Long Beach,
There you go. That's one of the gangs I was about to say about the Mormon situation.
By the 1990s, they had spread to Hawaii and across various parts of California, including key areas in the Bay Area like San Jose, Oakland, and Hayward. Incidentally, these were the same cities where members of the Samanu family lived, which only added to their deep connections and influence in the region. The police in Washington state had
My bad, bro. All these damn ads, man. Damn.
Had a lot to say about the SOS gang and their reputation. They were well known for using intimidation tactics to get what they wanted. Extortion was also a common move, and they weren't shy about pulling off drug ripoffs or even committing homicide when things escalated.
What kind of weapons do the gangs use? Your gang, for example? 38, 22, 357, 9, AK. It's pretty heavy sort of artillery.
These guys weren't the type to back down from a fight either. They'd throw hands with just about any gang that crossed their path. Their most common rivals, though, were the Tongan Crips gangsters, which only added to the tension on the streets. When it came to their image, the SOS gang.
And that was the other one about the Mormon. I wasn't too sure of the names until I saw it. It was Tongans and the Sons of Samoa. Those were the two the videos that I saw about the Utah Mormon Samoans. It was them two going at it, man. And then I think they got together and they made a single faction, if I'm correct. But hopefully they mention it.
Gang used a few specific symbols to represent themselves. One of their most recognizable signs was the Seattle Mariners logo, which they'd use on hats or clothing. They also had unique hand signals to show affiliation. These weren't just for show. These symbols carried weight, especially in gang-heavy areas where every sign and symbol sent a message. According to Long Beach detective Norm Sorensen, who spoke to the Los Angeles Times in 1990, the Sons of Samoa had a reputation for being an incredibly tough group, especially when they had been drinking or were under the influence of drugs. Sorensen explained
I think
that
everybody
their tolerance for conflict
gets to
was
that point where they're
basically
drinking, bro.
non-existent. If someone so much as looked at them the wrong way, a fight was almost guaranteed to break out. He described them as the type of gang that would fight at the drop of a hat, and their unpredictability made them even more dangerous. Their violent reputation wasn't just talk either. Stories about the SOS gang's willingness to fight and use violence spread quickly, earning them a lot of respect and fear on the streets. Whether it was intimidation, enforcing their dominance, or straight up brawling with rival gangs, SOS had a no-nonsense approach to handling business. They made sure everyone knew they weren't a group to mess with. One thing that made the Sons of Samoa SOS gang stand out was how different they were from other gangs in certain ways. Unlike most gangs, they didn't operate completely outside of traditional society. There wasn't any formal initiation process like the brutal hazing or jumping in rituals that are common in a lot of gangs. Joining SOS was more organic. Samoans came together out of necessity, driven by the need to protect themselves and each other in communities where they were a small minority. To put things into perspective, back in 2000, the entire Samoan population in Oakland was just 614 people. That's only about 0.15% of the city's population. It's no wonder they felt the need to stick together when they were such a tiny community compared to others. A friend of the Samanu family once described the gang in court records, saying it had a heavy presence in areas like San Jose and even in Samoan churches. It was in these churches that members of SOS would talk about values like respecting others, especially elders, a big part of Samoan culture. But outside of church, it was a whole different story. The same guys who were preaching respect and community inside those walls would show a much darker side when they were out in the streets.
I won't hesitate to shoot anyone.
You won't?
No, I wouldn't hesitate to shoot anyone if they come and mess with me.
Interestingly, despite how bad SOS could be at times, not everyone saw them purely as a criminal gang. For some, especially other Samoans in the area, SOS was more like a social club that brought the community together. It wasn't just about crime. It was about fostering a sense of ethnic brotherhood and looking out for one another in a world where they felt outnumbered and overlooked. For many, it was less about being a gang in the traditional sense and more about having each other's backs in a hostile environment. In the Bay Area, the Sons of Samoa operated a little differently compared to many other gangs, especially when it came to the infamous color wars that defined so much of gang life in places like Los Angeles during the 1990s. While the Bloods and Crips were going at it full force in LA, SOS in the Bay didn't.
I thought the title was this shit was Bully, Suge Knight was bullied. But it only played that one little clip, and the rest of it is just like the history of the Samoans. So you're gonna play it? I don't mind. I'll watch it because it's good. I mean, learning this shit. But I guess he put bullied Suge Knight to catch the attention of people because it caught my attention, and I watched it. That's crazy, bro. Only one little section of the bullying Suge Knight. I thought I was gonna go into more details of what happened, how it happened, what was the outcome, But nah, man, it did that and it went left and it just kept going straight, bro. Damn.
Seemed to take those rivalries as seriously. They weren't as focused on the traditional red versus blue battles that defined so many street wars. Instead, their focus was more about their own alliances, survival, and controlling their territory. But that doesn't mean they weren't dangerous. In fact, their willingness to adapt and align with other groups when it suited them made them even more unpredictable. For example, federal prosecutors in San Jose revealed that a subset of SOS operating out of Monterey, California had formed an alliance with a local Norteño crew called the Murder Squad. Together, these groups weren't just causing trouble, they were escalating things to a deadly level. In 2017, SOS and the Murder Squad reportedly teamed up to target rival Sureño members. They weren't just making threats or getting into small scuffles, they were actively working together to take out their enemies. In one case, they collaborated on a planned murder of rival Sureños, showing just how tight their alliance had become. They even carried out drive-by shootings, with reports detailing how they fired multiple shots from a revolver into a Hayward home where Sureño members were staying. And it wasn't just about guns and shootings. SOS had no problem resorting to more old-school methods of intimidation and robbery. They were known to walk right up to someone, deliver a knockout punch, often referred to as the one-hitter quitter, and then strip the victim of their valuables right there on the spot. Jackets, wallets, shoes, whatever they wanted, they took. The people they targeted would often wake up dazed, beaten, and completely robbed, all while SOS walked away unbothered. One of the most chilling incidents involving the Sons of Samoa gang was the tragic murder of 25-year-old Nolan Pamintuan, a young man who was on the brink of one of the happiest days of his life. On May 17, 1996, Nolan was preparing for his wedding to his fiancée, Rowena Pinello, which was set to take place the very next day in Daly City near San Francisco. He had planned everything down to the last detail, taking an active role in organizing the big day. That evening, after spending time at his parents' house in Hayward, he had a list of errands to run for the following morning. Booking a hotel room for after the wedding, picking up tuxedos for himself and his groomsmen, and helping his Aunt Edith with wedding preparations. But instead of waking up to a day of joy and celebration, Nolan became the victim of an unspeakable nightmare. That night, as he stepped out of his car in Hayward, he caught the attention of a group of men driving by in a stolen van. Timing in this case was everything. If Nolan had been just 2 minutes faster or slower, he might have avoided their notice altogether. But as fate would have it, the men saw him, targeted him on the spot, and decided to rob him. At gunpoint, Nolan was forced into their van and driven around the Bay Area while his captors stripped him of all his possessions. As if that wasn't terrifying enough, the situation took an even darker turn. The men began arguing among themselves about who would kill Nolan. Despite Nolan's desperate pleas for his life, their decision was merciless. He was shot once in the chest with a sawed-off shotgun and left to die in the middle of a street in Hayward. His lifeless body was discovered shortly after midnight, on what was supposed to be his wedding day. The news of Nolan's death sent shockwaves through the community, devastating his friends, family, and especially his fiancée Rowena. She was informed of his murder just half an hour before the wedding was scheduled to begin, turning what should have been the happiest day of their lives into a day of unimaginable grief. What made the crime even more senseless was how sloppy the perpetrators were. They left clues everywhere, holding on to easily identifiable stolen items, keeping clothing splattered with Nolan's blood, and making no real effort to cover their tracks. Detectives had no trouble piecing the case together, and within 10 days, 4 suspects were arrested. The group included 2 juveniles, an 18-year-old and a 22-year-old man who was believed to be the shooter.
Damn, youngsters? Youngsters did that. Damn. Hey, it's sad to say, man, what goes around comes around, bro, because they did the same thing, man. Sad, bro. Right before he got married, dog. He didn't even get a chance to. That's crazy.
It turned out 3 of them were members of the Sons of Samoa gang. During the trial, 2 of the suspects cooperated with authorities, turning informants in exchange for 16-year prison sentences.
Samoans?
The other 2, including the suspected shooter, were convicted and remain locked up to this day. Yet despite their reputation for violence, stories have surfaced over the years that paint a more complicated picture of the gang. Some say SOS wasn't all bad, and that there were times when they stepped up to help people in need, sometimes even those who weren't affiliated with the gang.
Bro, their own people got them. Damn. Youngsters at that. Man. Hey, but Samoans, bro, they're cool people, man. they'll show you love, man. They'll show you love. But once you get on their bad side,
I'm going to tell you a story.
that's a wrap. They're loyal, bro. They're all about family, unity. You know what I'm saying? And they stick together. Have a like maybe it's just one or two encounter with Samoans in Vegas. Cool people, bro. Nobody messed with it because they were big motherfuckers, bro. Straight up, they huge. They were like 6'4", and they were like 15, 16 years old, man. Big boys, always playing football. But yeah, man, this video, the only reason I clicked on it because it said Suge Knight was getting bullied. So I was hoping to see a videos, a picture, a deeper intel story, details. But it was just a little segment, like 30, 45 seconds, and that was a wrap. The rest of it went to, you know, other stuff. But I guess that's the way you got to catch people's attention. That's the way you have people click on your video because you want to see something. Suge Knight getting bullied? Oh, I got to check this out. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what I need to do, man. I need to start doing some crazy titles like that. Maybe I get some more subscribers and shit. Feel me? But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments, bro. You guys know any Samoans? Any Samoans watching this shit, man? And maybe in the future. Shout out for your EsseHomie. Man, I love for y'all. Respect, man. Straight up. But yeah, man, hit the like, and comment, subscribe. Any feedback, man, I'm you know what I'm saying? Any criticism, my bad, I had to stop a deal and shit, you know what I mean? My throat was burning. Yeah, bro, y'all want to hit me up with some feedback, man? I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to make my videos a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? So hit me up with something, you feel me? Y'all want to donate to the channel? Everything's up here, my Instagram, TikTok, Cash App, all that, bro. If you want me to react to something, to check some videos out, y'all know, hit the comment section. And if you guys want to just bless me with anything, man, hit me up with what you guys want me to react to, and I'll get to your videos first before anybody else's. And yeah, so on. But hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thank you for rocking with me. If you guys enjoyed me watching me eat my bomb ass ceviche, man, go make you some. Feel me? Don't take mine. But yeah, until the next one, your EsseHomie, I'm out, man. One love to everybody. Peace. Subscribe, man. Don't think about leaving without hitting the subscribe button.